Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to use random flow to create a an alien alphabet or an alien font or an alien text, and then use the shader nodes that comes with the add-on using the append materials operator. I suggest you learn all about the materials using the online documentation. The link can be found in the add-on preferences or in the link in the product page. Okay, so for this example, we're going to use just a simple cylinder for the surface and probably use 64 vertices. Okay, and increase the height and also bevel this. So we're not going to focus on the details using the add-on shade out smooth and then assign a basic shader. Instead, we're going to go directly into the intended effect that we're trying to achieve and just give this something like metallic roughness like that. And let's go ahead and add a vertex color just for, you know, just for a bit of design for our test object. Set and then add the color and then in input attributes. For this menu to appear, you have to have Node Wrangler uh, installed or downloaded using extensions in 4.2, or it comes bundled in Blender in pre 4.2 version of Blender. And then attributes vertex color. This is the vertex color group created by the random vertex color operator in random flow. Connect this to the base color, and then we can change this anytime, and the changes will reflect on the mesh. Okay, just simple coloring. Maybe we don't need that, but I don't know. Set. Let's go for black. Okay. Okay, to create our alphabet, we're going to create a simple plane and then shrink wrap it to the surface of this cylinder using Creative Flow. So here we're going to snap the vertex, the 3D cursor, and then create a primitive plane on that spot. So in Blender, the objects that you add in the 3D viewport gets created on the position of the 3D cursor, which is really advantageous. When I started out in Blender, I think the 3D cursor was such a nuisance, but actually it's a really helpful tool because you can snap it to like that and then add all the things that you want there. And also it helps with animation. So for example, this is a finger and this is the knuckle right here. You can uh, select the edge loop on that knuckle and then um, use this cursor to select it and then the cursor to selected and then with the bone, selecting one of the ends of the bones, you can then shift S and then selection to cursor keep offset or just selection to cursor, and it will accurately place that in the center of the edge loop that you have added. Okay, enough about the 3D cursor. I could spend a whole day talking about the usefulness of the 3D cursor. Okay, so we're going to shrink wrap it right here. So this is just going to be an basic example, and you can take what you learn here on how to shrink wrap it to other objects using this example, of course. And increase the resolution. We're going to need faces that are mostly square, so equal. And yeah, just perfect squares. All of the faces needs to be perfect squares. Or you can try uh, faces that have a longer, some faces that have longer, that's have different lengths or width. Okay, so selecting this and the source mesh, Control Shift X for creative flow, and then shrink wrap. Use shrink wrap, use data transfer, and wrap subdivision. We're not using subdivision. Floater mesh, and then okay. And press F9 and then increase the offset. There you go. So with the floater mesh toggle, it got rid of of the of this mesh's effects on the diffuse glossy shadow of the materials around it, and you can see that it looks as if this set of faces is part of the source mesh underneath it. Okay, so let's create a text that have which contains paragraphs of different lengths. Okay, which sort of implies like writing or something. And then inset, I mean, and then press I again to inset individually. Okay, now we're going to use these faces to create uh, the alien letters. So random panels, restore operator defaults, and then we're going to, oh, it did not, we're going to apply the shrink wrap. So this is using the modifiers for this are still live. So we're going to just apply the modifiers using this. Now it becomes a real mesh, and then use random panels, inset, and then in the clear faces, clear outer, and make it use floater mesh as well, and then in the depth use single value for that, and make it closer to the source mesh, and then we can experiment with different patterns and create those alien fonts. So let's go here and set the mesh color to random, so we can see the different meshes without them having the same color, and it's going to be harder seeing them. So number, and then decrease this to create more faces, and then come on, don't press. 2, 3, 4, 5 faces, 6, minimum of 2 faces. And then we can play around with the panel amount to get rid of some faces. You can toggle this on to delete those faces instead of them just being flat. There you go. And so this really looks like a bunch of alien stuff. So 10 for the triangulation. Let's try triangulation. Okay. And yeah, I guess this looks cool. Okay, we're going to hide this and let's look at if we add something like subdivision. This looks cool as well. Subdivision level 1. And let's go here and set the render to 1 as well. So with cut Mal Clark, you get this softening um, on the mesh. But with simple, it basically just the form is untouched, but we have increased resolution. So we want cut Mal and Clark. I'm going to just save this font. So okay. Now Alt H, and we're going to probably remove this. Okay. Now we have our alien font. We're going to actually increase the size of this, which will disturb the. Okay, let's try and flatten it to the normal or not. Let's just shrink wrap this. Select the font first and then the source mesh, shrink wrap, lower mesh, and increase the size of the font. Whoa. Get rid of this. We need to flatten this. We need to flatten this first. So I want to enlarge this, but I could have taken the steps prior to that and just made the subdivision less on the earlier steps, but at least you can watch me correct my mistake. And oh, this is we can set this to normal, and then how do you save the normal? This one here plus, so that face there, and then set this to this face. Yeah, there we go. And press 0, and then we have it straight. List on that part, and then we center the we relocate the origin point to the center of the to the average center of all the selected vertices. Set origin to geometry, and then increase the size of this. So do not go past this or this, or do not go past beyond some curvature because eventually it will start to warp. So let's create this size and then select the source mesh and then shrink ramp again. There we go. No distortion. And F9. We can still edit this. Okay. Okay. Make it as close to the mesh as you can without any overlaps. Let's add the subdivision back. Okay, now let's create a material for this. So what the floater mesh does is in here in the object section, I think it's the object section. I turned off the um, helper text when you hover above anything in Blender because I was creating GIF images for the online documentation. But let's turn that back on. Interface user tooltips. So this is object properties, yeah. And in the viewport in the visibility, this only works in cycles. It turns off all of this except for the camera. So it doesn't have any effect with the diffuse, glossy, transmission, volume, scatter, shadow, or cast shadow, or cast all of this in four other materials around the mesh. So it looks like it's a part of the source mesh. Okay, let's create the material. I'm just gonna show you a very simple setup, and it's up to you to uh, expand upon this. Okay, so let's use, since we've already used append materials, let's go ahead and in the group. Oh, what the? You have not used. It's actually in the other video that I made. Okay, I just became confused. Append materials. It will append all these materials. Go ahead and look at the documentation too. Online documentation to know all about this stuff. It's the link is in the user preferences and in the product page of the add-on. Okay, so group, quick dirt, and here, oh, not there, in the alpha. I think this needs, continue with this from the view. Okay, rotation and scale, 6 to 5. So I applied the rotation and scale there. So you can use quick dirt to create this effect, to create like faded signs or or text. There we go. And the outer scale, the outer scale is um, the major bodies of noise that you see, and then inside of it is the are another is another noise texture, and its scale is going to be controlled by this. There we go. And outer detail of the outer noise and inner detail of the inner noise. And we have, what's this? Inner roughness. Yeah, outer roughness, inner roughness. Offset is how you can randomize the texture. Actually, it's the texture, if you can see it, is actually expanding like this. So if you see this effect, try and increase the offset, something like this, and then start from that. Then you can play around, and it will actually reposition the texture and create another look for you. So let's do something like, and threshold is basically just the colorant of this, or the factor. Softness to make the texture softer, and invert to invert the effect of the texture. Okay, so this is the faded look of our alien text, and here is the connection. You can also use this for base color and change this to, actually, we're going to just use it for alpha for this effect. And with this, you can even, I think you can even solidify this. 001. There we go. Put it under the subdivision. You can even solidify this and give it some thickness. There you go. And this is our alien font, or make it uh, emit some lights. Actually, let's make this color vertex color. Pick, oops, select, and then create a darker. There we go. Should have made it darker. Set this as set that to a brighter color. Okay, so that can you can actually just create a you can actually just create a plane for this, then use scribble bake to bake the alpha instead of using geometry in this case. So we have that, and that could see it looks like a Japanese text from this side. But yes, so this is your device, and this is how you will render it, and the viewer can see the writing and uh, figure out that it's of course alien in design. Okay, let's create another one here, and let's try a long format like this one. Set. Get rid of the solidify. Okay, let's try this one with bigger text. It goes down like that. So this is just one of the many uses of the add-on that you will get to play with. If you're bored with the type of fonts that you have, then you can use this to randomize stuff. Okay, random panels. So the normals of flip it and select this, Shift G, perimeter. Okay, let's increase the triangulation to something like 200 and increase the thickness. Okay, just 100 radial or square. And then let's use this one. So by default, I think, yeah, it will get rid of the smaller islands first with this toggled off, but with this on, it will get rid of the bigger island first and leave the smaller islands. So let's use that and increase the resolution and create our alien font with that, with this. Into our random. Okay. So it's another look. You can see it kind of looks like Morse code and with a bunch of patterns thrown in. So let's use this and let's give the Shrinkwrap operation a helping hand by, okay, set origin to geometry. Let's give the Shrinkwrap operation a helping hand by aligning this prior to that operation. There we go. So this makes sure that this makes sure that there's no major warping using the initial position, which is this. Shrinkwrap floater mesh data transfer. Oops. Okay. And this is without subdivision. This is with subdivision. Okay, let's try it without subdivision. And then use the material of this first setup. Let's just rename this font. And using this material icon here, drag it to the mesh. Okay. That is our second effort with random text. Let's reduce the, let's try and reduce the fading effect. See them clear, much clearer. Okay, that's our second writing, much smaller. But a good thing about this is they don't look. If you look at them, they don't look like just some useless scribble. They look functional. You know what I mean? They look like they actually existed as a language. And all you need is an interesting backdrop story to make this work. Okay, can actually create an alphabet for this. So if you want to some to copy like the alphabet, you can create like, I don't know, is it 24 or 26? 26 tiles like I made before, and then just randomize. Then you can create like a library of that by baking the result. And then with each letter, you can create an alpha, something like GIMP or in something like GIMP or Photoshop. Then you can, I think there's a way to actually create this, create that as a font for Windows. I saw some, I think I saw an article where a Blender artist actually created his own font for Windows from his design in Blender. So you can do this, and then use the font system in Blender to type those gribbles that you created as a font for this. So the good thing about that is that you don't have to randomize anymore. You have your like alphabet setup. You can just type it on the text normally. So text, you can just type it. So another use for the shrink wrap and creative flow is that you can quantify this using um, Shift X extras texture mesh. Start with 6, then just build your way up. So this is enough faces for to work for the shrink wrap operation. You can also use this. So if you are saving in time, you just want to present your render. You don't want to go to GIMP or Photoshop to create this those bunch of text. You can type it using the text object, then texture mesh like what I did, then ensure that the form using the parameters on the texture mesh, make sure that the form the letters are preserved using uh, like optimal resolution, not too much, not too low. Okay, selecting this text or mesh and selecting the search mesh, shrink wrap. Okay, and then F9 to bring out the redo panel and then increase the offset until we get rid of the overlapping. There you go. It looks like, what material is this? This is font. Okay, so the only do this if you don't have time, you can quickly do this. You can type your sentence like EC0102 experimental cylinder or something like that, and then texture mesh and shrink wrap. And also with alien fonts or alphabet. If you have more time, you can do what I said, create a library of this. So you can just drag and drop it, probably using the asset browser, or create your own font and then just type it using the text object. Okay, so I'm not gonna add more to this because that's basically the actions you need to do to create this effect. But if you want to just do that on a plane and then bake the result and then save it and create your own library, then just use a plane, subdivide, and then I to inset, and I to inset. It will inset like this at default. You need to press I to inset basically using the individual faces. So the advantage of this is that we create a spacing for each of the uh, dribbled letters. Okay. Yeah, it looks, I like it. It looks convincing and it looks functional. You can even add something like symbols, familiar symbols. You can mix in familiar symbols like exclamation points or question marks, and even something like a square or a pyramid or a triangle, just to mix in like to get a healthy mix of the strange and the familiar. So you mix this. Probably not this done because this one looks too uh, blocky and specific. But this one here, you can make something like those what I've said, like exclamation points and question marks. You know, the familiar symbols for us human species, just to actually balance out the strangeness of these symbols. But because this looks familiar because this actually in when you first see it, it looks like Japanese, Korean, or something like that. That's why it looks familiar. With this one, it looks more like I said, a Morse code, but with the added shapes, it looks more strange than familiar, but it still works. Okay, so yeah, that is it, and that's how you can use the add-ons Creative Flow and Random Flow to create this effect. Okay, so if you have any questions, use the comment section or the links in the description. Be sure to subscribe, especially if you're using the add-ons to get to learn more about it. And also a bunch of new stuff coming in the new update, and also some fixes. Okay, so thank you for watching and have a nice day.